Have you ever felt like your dog didn't like someone for no apparent reason? That one guest they avoided, the stranger on the street that made them growl, or even that friend they just didn't want to go near. Sometimes they bark, back away, or simply watch in silence, as if they know something you don't. But do they really? In today's video, we're diving into a fascinating question. Can dogs sense a person's character? Science has already shown that dogs can read body language, tone of voice, and even micro-facial expressions. They can tell when we're nervous, sad, or scared. But can they also pick up on someone's bad intentions? Stick around, because maybe, just maybe, your dog is seeing something you haven't noticed yet. How dogs perceive people's character. Have you ever had the feeling that your dog just didn't vibe with someone? Well, there might be a scientific explanation for that. Several studies suggest that dogs are capable of sensing whether a person is trustworthy or not. And they do this by observing a mix of subtle cues like body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and even the scents our bodies emit. One experiment conducted by Japanese researchers revealed something amazing. Dogs can tell when someone is lying. In the study, scientists pointed to containers with food. When they repeatedly tricked the dogs about where the food was, the dogs eventually stopped trusting them and no longer followed their cues. This shows that dogs don't just observe, they learn from interactions and adjust their behavior based on trust. Dogs are also extremely sensitive to human emotions. If someone is tense, nervous, or acting suspiciously, a dog can pick up on those signals and go on alert. That's why they sometimes avoid or even growl at someone, even if that person seems totally harmless to us. Another key factor is associative memory. If a dog had a negative experience with someone who had a certain tone of voice or posture, they might associate those traits with danger. And when they encounter someone else with similar characteristics, they may react with caution or distrust. The role of smell in a dog's perception. A dog's sense of smell is incredibly powerful. It's estimated to be between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than ours. That means they can detect even the slightest chemical changes in the human body, like the hormones we release when we're scared, stressed, or anxious. For example, when someone is nervous, their body releases substances like adrenaline and cortisol. And dogs can literally smell that in the air. Often, they'll respond by becoming more alert, backing away, or showing signs of distrust, even if the person hasn't done anything directly. Humans also release pheromones and other chemical signals through sweat when they're stressed or afraid. Dogs can detect these changes and adjust their behavior accordingly. For instance, if a dog's owner is anxious, the dog might become restless or try to comfort them by lying close or licking their hands. Dogs also have an incredible scent memory. If they've had a traumatic experience with someone who wore a certain perfume or type of clothing, they might associate that smell or look with something negative. And when they meet someone else with similar traits, they may react defensively. And there's more. Trained dogs can detect illnesses like cancer, diabetes, and even predict epileptic seizures, all through smell. This sensitivity also extends to people's emotional states, making dogs even more capable of picking up on human intentions, even when they're not spoken out loud. Reading body language. Dogs have an extraordinary ability to interpret human body language, a key part of how they communicate and understand the world around them. Unlike humans, who rely heavily on spoken language, dogs make sense of their environment through gestures, posture, and facial expressions. This makes them highly sensitive to even the slightest changes in a person's behavior or stance. When someone shows signs of tension, like clenched muscles, fidgety hands, or even changes in breathing, dogs pick up on those signals instantly. They can also detect microexpressions, which are tiny, almost imperceptible facial movements that reveal true emotions, even when someone is trying to hide them. Eye contact is another important factor. A calm, steady gaze can signal trust and relaxation, while avoiding eye contact or darting eyes can be interpreted by dogs as signs of discomfort or even dishonesty. Some dogs may react with suspicion or barking when they sense someone behaving in an unnatural or overly nervous way. Dogs also associate past experiences with specific gestures and postures. If a dog was once treated aggressively by someone who raised their hands or made sudden movements, they might show fear or aggression when encountering another person who behaves similarly. These skills make dogs excellent at detecting potential threats and protecting their humans, because they can notice subtle shifts in body language that often go unnoticed by people themselves. Can dogs recognize emotions? Absolutely. Dogs are incredibly good at recognizing human emotions and respond based on the emotional state of their owners and the people around them. This is thanks to their ability to interpret not just body language, but also vocal tones and even the chemical signals our bodies release during different emotional states. Studies show that dogs can distinguish between happiness, sadness, anger, and fear just by looking at a person's face. In one study conducted by researchers at the University of Vienna, dogs were able to match images of happy or angry human faces with corresponding sounds, cheerful or irritated voices, proving that they understand emotions in context. Beyond visual cues, dogs are also sensitive to tone of voice. If an owner speaks in a high-pitched, cheerful tone, the dog recognizes it as positive and may wag its tail or come closer. On the other hand, a deeper, harsher tone might cause the dog to shrink back or adopt a submissive posture. This deep emotional connection explains why so many dogs work as therapy animals, helping people with anxiety, depression, and other emotional conditions. They don't just sense how we feel, they actively try to comfort and support us. In social situations, dogs can even show empathy when they notice someone is sad or distressed, approaching them and offering affection. This incredible emotional sensitivity strengthens the bond between humans and dogs and shows that our four-legged friends understand us far more than we often realize. Other impressive abilities dogs have. Beyond their amazing ability to sense human intentions, dogs possess other remarkable skills that showcase their intelligence and sensitivity. Associative memory is one of their strongest traits. As we've seen, dogs can remember situations and link them to either positive or negative experiences. This means that if a dog had an unpleasant encounter with a certain person, place, or sound, they might react cautiously or even aggressively when faced with a similar stimulus again. On the flip side, positive associations can lead to excitement and affection. Another extraordinary ability is scent tracking. Widely used in rescue operations, dogs can locate missing people using only their sense of smell, even in extreme conditions like snow, rubble, or dense forests. Their noses can detect specific scents from great distances, allowing them to be trained for search and rescue missions and disaster response. Dogs also show an impressive capacity for understanding. Research has shown that some breeds can learn hundreds of words and commands, enabling highly effective communication with their humans. Border Collies, for example, are known for their above-average intelligence and quick learning abilities. This makes them not only great companions, but also essential workers in roles like guide dogs, therapy animals, and security assistants. These abilities make dogs truly extraordinary creatures, capable of perceiving and responding to the world in ways that often go far beyond human understanding. So next time your dog acts strangely around someone, it might be worth paying attention. What seems like random behavior to us could actually be a precise reading of signals we don't even notice, a tone of voice, a scent, a tension in the air. Dogs don't speak, but they're communicating all the time. And when they show distrust, it might just be their instincts speaking louder than words. Science is still far from fully understanding everything that goes on in a dog's mind. But one thing is clear, they are observant, sensitive, and often see what our eyes can't. Let us know in the comments. Do you think your dog can tell who's good and who's not? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with that friend who always says their dog doesn't like a certain someone. See you next time, and keep an eye on what your dog might be trying to tell you.